Are ya ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
If nautical nonsense be something you wish,
SpongeBob SquarePants!
then drop on the deck and flop like a fish.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Hello and welcome to part 4 of our EOC review. We will start today with talking about systems of equations. And of course, a system of equations just means it has more than one equation. Alright, our first example doesn't even say system of equations, but we know it is a system of equations because there are more than one variables. I'm seeing medium and large submarines. Sandwiches. So what we're going to do, I'm going to need a little bit of room here, so I'm going to move this down. And what we're going to do is first set up an equation. If we have our variables of medium, and large, let's see, we have 3 medium and 2 large. We'll make this an L. Equals 29.95. That's our first equation. And the second equation is 4 medium and 1 large. 28.45. Okay, so now that we have an equation, we have our 2 equations we can solve. I think this might be best if we eliminate. And in order to eliminate, I see this is 3 and 4 for the M's and then 2 and 1 for the L's. We can make this first equation, or the second equation, eliminate by matching it to the first equation if we multiply everything by -2. So that'll give us -8M minus 2L equals $56.90. And I'm going to bring this second equation back. Just recopy the first equation from here. And then I'm going to combine those 2 equations, because now what happens is you have -8M and 3M. That's fine. That's just going to give us, if you add down, 5M. But these 2 guys, opposite signs, -2, +2, give you 0. And that's what we wanted. Okay, and of course we are going to, wait, if this was -2, this would be a negative. So we're going to do 56.90. This would be the negative. This is positive. Minus 29.95 will give us negative 26.95. And it looks like I forgot a negative there. -8 plus +3 is -3M. So if I divide both sides by -5, I get M equals $5.39. Okay, so that means we can cross off, let's see, each medium sandwich is $5.39, not $5.69, so we can cross off A and B. Alright, now we just need to solve for the large sandwich. So I'm going to take this number, plug it into either equation that looks easier to me. And I think the second equation here looks easier, because if I plug in here, all I'm going to have is L, and whatever answer I get there will be my answer. Okay, so let's rewrite this equation. 4 times 539, again, just rewriting this equation, plus L equals 28.45. And 4 times 539 is 21.56, plus L equals 28.45. So if I subtract 28.45 from both sides, I get my answer of M is equal to 2.689. Okay, go back and check with the system of equations. You can always plug them back in and see if you were correct. All right, let's try the next one. Get my eraser here. All right, why don't you try this equation, this system of equations. Again, it doesn't say system of equations, but we know it is because there's an x and a y, x and a y. Hit pause, try to figure this out on your own, and I will help. Well, I will explain how it's done in just a second. All right, here's my work. See if this is what you did, because we have x equals in this first equation. I'm going to rewrite the second equation instead of writing x. I'm just going to write what it equals, and it's 0.99 times y plus 4. If you distribute, we got 0.99 plus 3.96 plus 1.29y is equal to 1536. Now we're going to combine these two like terms here. 1.29 and 0.99 gives us 2.28y. Then I subtract 396 from both sides, and I get 2.28y is equal to 1140. And then, of course, our last step is divide by 2.28. We get y equals 5. That's great, but that's not what the question is asking. It's asking for the 99-cent price, which if you look in here is the x, 0.99x. So I'll plug this into this first equation, and if I have y plus 4, I would get my correct answer of 9. X is equal to 9. Did you get that? I hope you did. So, what is this picture? This is another brain break here. Is it Wolverine or 2 Batman? You decide. And while you're deciding, I'm going to give you yes, that's 2 clues for our puzzle. I'm giving you the letter F and the letter E. I know we've seen it before. It's a different E. So those are 2 letters for our puzzle. Hope you're recording those so we can figure out what it says. Alright, our next topic is simplifying monomial and monomial expressions using the laws of exponents. Okay, so we'll talk about that in our next slide. Aha, so here we have it. We have what is called a power to a power right here. Okay, so this is 2 squared times all of that. And the rule for when you're multiplying a power to a power is we keep the base, multiply the exponents. Okay, that might be one of your little tips from Eddie and Michaela. Eddie and Michaela think when you have variables and it's a power to a power, you multiply. So we're going to multiply those exponents. So this will give us 2 times 6 is 12. What do you know it? That's already enough to answer the question. But then also 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 3 is 6. So answer choice A, very easy. But the next problem below, not so easy. I will give you a hint. It's easy, but I will give you a hint. If you are multiplying, the rule is keep the base, add the exponents. Okay, so here this is just multiplying, and we know that because of the parentheses. So that's another tip from Eddie and Michaela. And that is, if you are multiplying with exponents, like we are there, the rule is keep the base, add the exponents. Okay, hit pause, give it a try. I'll explain when you're done. So, pause. Did you get this answer? The way it works is a to the third, a to the second. We're going to add like variables. 3 plus 2 is 5. Negative 6 plus 2, that is negative 4. But then what do? Negative exponents act like a warp zone. No. Send it down. So what we have is a to the 5th over b to the 4th. Now the question is asking, our final answer was in the form AMBN. If she simplified the expression correctly, what is the value of n, the exponent of b? Well, this is a correct answer that we have right here. However, sometimes you have to read the question, make sure it matches what they want. They want to know what this is, and in this case, our answer would be -4. That's a tricky one. Make sure you read. More with polynomials. We're going to add, subtract, and multiply them. Let's investigate. But before we do that, how about time for your next clue? This next clue is the letter C. Alright, now in these sets of problems, both involve factoring. Alright, it says which of the following is equivalent to the expression above we're talking about here. Well, what I see is that all of these have something in common. That something in common is n. So I'm going to factor that out. If I have to multiply n times something to get np, that something would just be p. N times something is ng, that would just be g. It is positive, so I'm going to put a plus. And then n times something is nc, that would just be a c. So my final answer here looks like it's n times p plus b, g plus c, and a. Alright, so here's our next example. X is not equal to 3, because that would make this 0 in the denominator, and of course, undefined. So we're not going to do that. We need to simplify this. There is one problem. This numerator can be factored. Okay, so I'm going to factor that. First, what do 3x squared and 27 have in common? Well, the answer to that is 3. So 3 times what will give me 3x squared? The answer is x squared. 3 times what will give me 27? The answer is 9. Well, why do I care about that, you might say? Probably say that a lot about a lot of these things. Don't say it, that's mean. Anyways, we can still keep going. We can factor this. Okay, so let's factor this right here. This is a difference of squares that can be factored with the x method. There is no middle term because middle term is 0. So x squared is x times x, 9 is 3 times 3. And how do we get those to be 0? We have 3x and 3x. One of them has to be positive, one of them has to be negative. So watch this. This is where it's cool. And it is cool to cross things out. Ready? So we have 3 times x plus 3 and 3 times x minus 3 as we rewrite this numerator, and that's all over x minus 3. Well, if you have the same thing in the numerator and denominator, like this whole thing is the same as this whole thing, that's a wha, 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 wha. So ninja skills. Obviously, what's left? 3 times x plus 3. That's answer choice A. Did you get that? Go back and look. Remind yourself of the steps that we did. That'll help you figure that one out. Oh my gosh, what an awesome bike. This is an excellent brain break and a time to get some cookies while you're studying for the end of course exam. And our next benchmark has to do with radical expressions. Radical expressions can be simplified as the radicals, like a square root symbol, can be simplified with when it's prime time, couples go out to dine. Singles stay in the house to mingle, or eat Pringles, or sing jingles. So let's look at this example. If we simplify this correctly, what is the final answer? Well, the only thing that can be simplified here is this square root of 12. And it is not prime time, so let's break that number into prime factorization. That would be 3 times 4. 4 is not prime, so I'm going to break it into 2 and 2. Oh my gosh, what do you know? 2 is a couple. Couples come out as 1. Singles stay in the house to mingle. The only thing that's left single is this 3. So we have 2 times the square root of 3 plus square root of 3x plus 7 times the square root of 3. Oh my gosh! These are like radicals here. So guess what? That's like 2x and 7x, and I'm going to add those together to get 9x, but in this case it's 9 times the square root of 3. And this is not like terms. That's like a y. So I'm going to keep those separate, and there's my final answer, which is, of course, answer choice A. Alright, that's the end of part 4. I hope you enjoyed this. I will be looking forward to see you on part 5.